Hi, this is the WayOut series. It is a collection of testimonies and revelations that can help you in your own healing journey. This is an online training on renewing your mind, inner healing, based on the way that's already behind me. This is not a few-step program. It is an encouragement and tools from someone on the way out to others on the way out. I believe that what meant a turning point for me will become yours as well. Have a great way out. Hi, this is the exercise for the 7th session, and we are gonna ask questions from Jesus about what we can change about our lives, lifestyles, that can help us to go forward in our healing journey. And I just would like to sit in silence a little bit so that we can let go of like our anxiety and thoughts and just relax a bit. It's quite important to know what is the next step in our healing. Many times we cling to life situations that are absolutely unhealthy for us, and Jesus is more than ready to tell us that, okay, this is something you don't need to do anymore. You don't need to live like that, and just feel free to like hear it. And let me tell you that this hearing is not always like the first good impression. When we listen to Jesus sharing his love with us, it's really like, oh, come and have all the positive thoughts and impressions. Many times when we are talking about like how to walk out of our prisons, our mental prisons, many times the voice is not on the surface. On the surface, there are many lies shouting that you should never do that, you won't be free from that, all of these things. And this calling of God is very, very deep in us. Like, we have this desire under the layers of lies that I must do this, I should do it, it would be so great if I could do it. Like, and of course there are all the mental noise reacting to that, like you can do, you won't do, and all that. But underneath all this resistance in our minds, there is this call from God that we should go out, we should do that, we should be able to do that. It's okay to be free, it's okay to act like you are free, you are that, you can do that, you're free to do that. And there is this calling, and many times our mind shuts it off, like it is impossible, I was never able to do, and all of that. So this voice we are waiting for now is not something on the surface. It's something deep within, the desire of God in us for greater freedom, under the layers of whatever we twisted our mind to be. Yeah, so just dare to listen to that deep longing for the greater freedom and for the impossible levels of freedom that is inside you, and don't listen to like how the mind reacts to this desire, because it's it's his job to like convince you that, oh, it's like impossible, you could never do it, you will still not do it, and all of that. And actually this harsh reaction to your desire for freedom is the very proof that this desire is something from God. It is something good. This is where you should go. Because the lies are like kind of freaked out when you dare to listen to this deep inner voice, because they know that, oh, we are losing space in his mind, in her mind, so we should just shut it up by telling him or her everything we always told them, and they won't be able to do what they know they should do. So they are just like very reactive exactly when you do the right thing, when you start to listen to it, when you don't numb it with all the reasons and all the limited thoughts. So look for something deeper than your obvious answer. Look for the deepest longing of God in you. And now we go into resting mode. Make as much silence in your mind as you can. It's okay if you can't, but as much as you are able to, rest. And if you don't have a restful environment at this point, replay this video when you are in a very calm state, because it helps this practice. Just watch your breath a little bit. We let go of all anxiety, all cares, all worries, or all pressure and performance. And we are asking questions from Jesus. You can look for him in the room, just find him where he is at. You can imagine what he looks like, how he behaves, what he is wearing, and what is his attitude, all of that. You can pause the video and take time for that if you want. And you can take time to like greet each other. Jesus, what can I change about my life that can help me to go farther in my freedom, in my mental health? What are the things that I can change in my life that will make me progress in my healing journey? What are the physical issues, the physical factors that can be changed? My work, my schedule, my hobbies, my relationships, ways of living, what are the physical things that should be changed to help my healing? What are the soul issues that can be changed to help my inner healing? Should I look for help from the outside, a therapist or something? Should I get rid of bad thinking habits? Should I pay more attention and time on my healing? Should I read a certain book or teaching that would help me? What can I do on soul level for my greater freedom? What can I do in a spiritual level for my freedom? Spending more time with you, feeding my mind with more helpful and uplifting understandings and revelations. Taking more time to rest with you, go on a retreat, what are the spiritual things that can be changed about my life that would lead to greater freedom in you, Jesus? what is the next step that I can take towards greater freedom? Jesus, tell me the next thing that I can do. That leads me farther away from my limitations. And now don't think about things that you would do like decades later. Like things that you would do today or tomorrow or next week. It's like something that is the very next thing that you should do or you feel like God is leading you to do. Maybe it still feels impossible, but Jesus is going to tell you what he thinks the next step is for you. Jesus, what is the craziest step of freedom that I would be able to make once? Like, what is the greatest expression of health that I'm gonna be able to demonstrate one time? And now you can dare to think of the craziest things. It's okay if you can only imagine yourself doing those things, like just in heaven or decades or years later. Just think about the wildest freedom that you can imagine now, and let Jesus tell you what this would be. And let Jesus bring this very far away step come closer to you. Like, let him tell you that it is not that far away, and let him convince you that it is quite possible and it is near. Just let him do that. I'm with you, and I'm gonna jump over those huge gaps in you, with you, and as you. And this is more than possible. It is so near. Actually, it's here and now. We can do that. anytime you are ready for it. And my patience is endless. So if you say no, like I need some time, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna lead you there. But anytime you can choose to, or you can agree with me to do those things, because you are that free. You long for this freedom because you are already that free. You can think of that step because this step is already in you, had been written into your heart. And I'm gonna convince you that this is the real you. This is what you are able to do. This is what I am able to do in you. So it's okay for me if you say it's not now. But let me tell you, you are that now. You are that person that will do those things once. You are already that. And I can't wait to walk down this road with you and completely transform your mind to agree with me that you can do that. And I have the time for that, and you can take any time, but it is already here, and it is already possible. And one day you will laugh how possible it was. Like, now you think it is impossible and absolutely out of your mind, and one day you will be like, it was quite ridiculous that I didn't dare to do it. One day you will think about this like that. You won't feel bad about it, but you will feel like it is funny that I thought it was impossible. It was so possible and so simple. One day you will feel about this thing like that. And it's okay if you don't feel like that right now. I'm convincing you to agree with me that this is more than possible, and it is so near that it is actually in you now. Amen. You can take as much time as you need. Pause the video and continue the conversation with Jesus. You can ask more specific questions related to these ideas. I know that this is something like you need to really go deep and when you spend time with Jesus or when you are in silence, you can ask those questions and write down the answers if you need to. So it's not necessarily a fast thing to go through. And Jesus is more than ready to tell you those things that can be changed. I think many times we over mystify our healing, and we think about like, one day when I do this therapy, or one day when someone prays for me, that I'm gonna be miraculously healed in a second. And it can happen, and I believe in it, but many times we cause our problems to ourselves. Like, we love making ourselves suffer, and many times Jesus is like, I can't do anything about it. Not because he's not compassionate and he's like, oh, I don't care, solve it yourself. He is more than ready to like be in it and help us, but he's like, you are choosing this lifestyle, you are making yourself suffer all the time. I'm gonna help you to walk out of it, but we need to walk out of it now. So if you like work 3 jobs and have a ministry and try to support healthy social life and spend time with your family, and you feel like you are depressed and worn out, it is not always about finding a trauma in your childhood when it comes to mental health issues. It's like, if you live a lifestyle that is completely contrary to your original design, God hasn't made you to work 3 jobs and do like 6 things simultaneously. He designed you for rest, and if you do enjoy doing incredible amount of work, let's do that. I don't want to speak against that, but if it feels like it's a burden for you, probably you feel like that because it is not something you were made to. Or for example, if you are in an abusive relationship, God is like, okay, we can start your healing process, but first live in a place when you don't get physical abuse day by day. Like, sometimes Jesus just tells you that there is a step that should be made for freedom, and we shouldn't ignore that, because we can end up in a place when we are like waiting for our freedom, but we are working against it. And this is something like, oh, when would you heal me, Jesus? And Jesus is like that, why you just don't stop like working 16 hours a day? Like, you are mentally worn out because you do what you do. So there is something we are designed for, and if we are leading lifestyles that is far away from it, it makes us sick. And sometimes we just need to change little things about our healing. Of course, I know there are cases when there is a great trauma and it's very complex, but there are many cases when it's just simply changing a bad habit and it sets you on the healing path. So I really wanted you to know that there are like a lot of factors to healing, and it is also in it, and that's why it is so necessary to ask Jesus about what are the steps we can make or should make. For example, in my life, I'm in this situation again, not with a crazy mental health issue, but with a very serious issue that I'm about. Like, I'm waiting for a change, and then Jesus just tells me that, okay, actually, you can make this step. And it is crazy because all the things in my mind are shouting against it, like, you can't do, you won't do, it is impossible, it will make you miserable, it will destroy your life, and all of that. And so the lies are like very active, like, oh, you don't answer this innermost call of God's desire in you. We just shut it up with our ideas. That's what the lies tell. But now I'm kind of like used to this feeling, that when there is this inner call, this desire, this impression that I should go there, and everything in my mind is shouting against it, I kind of get excited, like, okay, there is this theater going on in my mind, and I should go where this call is taking me and drawing me, because it's gonna be fun. At the end, even if it feels impossible right now, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that. When I was like going out to the streets to do outreach and talk to strangers, because it was the next step towards my freedom, I had this thing, like everything was shouting against it in my brain, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna still answer this call that is deeper within me, under the layers of shouting lies and reasons in my head. And it is worth it. It is so worth it to allow this inner voice of God to draw us towards greater freedom, even if it feels like very uncomfortable, very outside of the box, very much against our lifestyles, our way of thinking, and everything. And I pray for you that you would be able to allow this inner voice, this drawing of God's desire in you towards greater freedom. I just wish that you would be able to let it happen and take you where you need to go. And I'm very excited about what comes out of it. I'm very excited for my life situation that is quite related to this right now, and I can't wait for your testimonies about that, and I can't wait for my testimony about that. So yeah, many times the freedom looks like something, like you want to be free out of that, like, okay, but this freedom is outside of your prison cell. Would you go there with me? That's what Jesus asks from us, and he's more than ready to sit down in our prison cells and spend the rest of our lives with us in our prisons. He's very nice and he's very close, so he won't leave us, but he's like trying to like convince us, like, oh, please, could we go outside? So when he convinces us that you are free, he's like, okay, but let's do something that looks like freedom. Like, what is the next thing we can do that you think is not possible, but I think is possible? And what if we would do it together? That's what this exercise is about. Like, Jesus just calling you, like, we can do that. And many times we can go out of our mental prisons by taking a step that is outside of our mental prison. Like, for me, like, I was like crazy afraid of people, and then going out to the streets to talk to strangers was something that was really outside of my comfort zone and outside of my mental prison. And Jesus was like, come on, we are gonna walk out. And sometimes walking out of your mental health issue looks like making a step of impossible and making a trip outside of our prison cell. And it is possible because God is in you and he is able to jump through these barriers and show you that there is life outside of your prison. Send me your testimonies. I can't wait to read them. God bless you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was a blessing for you. This course is completely free of charge. However, the production and editing has a cost, and I wanted to produce this series in the best possible quality and make it available to everyone absolutely free on YouTube. So if you feel led to, please contribute with any amount to the production costs. All the donation options and the payment methods are available in the description.